Here's something I keep running into. People watch videos, read articles, maybe experiment a little with ChatGPT, and they come away thinking, okay, I kind of get how this works, but I have no idea whether it's actually useful for what I do. That's not a knowledge problem, that's a framework problem, and that's exactly what today is about. By this point in the series, you've got a solid foundation. You understand how AI actually works, pattern completion, context windows, hallucination, and prompting. But understanding the technology and knowing where to apply it, those are two completely different skills. So today we're building the practical evaluation framework. How do you look at any task and actually decide whether AI belongs there? Let's get into it. Here's the frustrating reality. If you've spent any time reading about AI lately, you've seen some version of the same claim. AI can do everything. It'll transform your business, revolutionary capabilities, game-changing potential. And honestly, a lot of that isn't even wrong. AI genuinely can do a lot of things. But that doesn't answer the actual question you need answered, which is which of my tasks should I be using it for? That gap between what AI can theoretically do and what it should actually do in your specific workflow is where most people get stuck. And that's what we're closing today. Getting this wrong isn't just frustrating, it's expensive, and it usually shows up in one of three ways. The most common one: teams spend months building an AI implementation for a task that was never a good fit. They fight with it, they try to force it to work, and eventually they abandon it. 6 months gone. The second one is subtler. While chasing a complicated AI project, the obvious high valued opportunities, the ones that would have delivered ROI in week two, just sit there untouched. And the third, people try to make AI work for tasks it fundamentally can't do well, get burned, and lose trust in the technology altogether. Not because AI doesn't work, but because they applied it to the wrong problem. Your evaluation framework is what prevents all three of those. Get this right first, and everything else follows. Here's something worth recognizing before we go further. If you've been following this series, you already have most of what you need to make this framework work. You know that AI is pattern completion, not reasoning. You know how context windows limit what it can hold. You know why it hallucinates with confidence. You know how to structure prompts for better outputs. What we're doing today isn't adding new information on top of all of that. We're taking everything you already understand and turning it into a decision-making system. This is where that knowledge pays off. Before we get to the right framework, let's clear out three evaluation mistakes I see constantly because they're tempting questions that sound reasonable but lead you in the wrong direction. The first, can AI technically do this? That question misses the point entirely. AI can technically attempt almost anything. Whether it's appropriate for your specific context, your quality standards, your verification costs, none of that is answered by capability alone. Second, is this an AI use case? This one's too vague to be useful. I could frame nearly any task as a potential AI use case. The question tells you nothing about whether it makes sense for you. Third, and this one catches a lot of people, what are other businesses using AI for? Their workflows aren't your workflows. Their quality requirements, risk tolerance, and team structure, completely different context. Their success doesn't predict yours. The problem with all three is they're looking at the wrong things. We need questions that actually map to how AI works and where it delivers value. The right question is this: does this task match AI's actual strengths? And that breaks into three things you need to evaluate for any task. Is it pattern work or precision work? Is volume high enough to justify it? And where does it fall on the quality versus speed spectrum? These three dimensions cut through the noise and give you a concrete answer. Let's walk through each one. This is the most important distinction in the entire framework, so let's spend some time on it. Go back to video 1 in this series. AI is pattern completion. That's not a simplification, that's literally the mechanism, which means AI is genuinely excellent at tasks that are pattern-based and genuinely unreliable at tasks that require precision. Pattern work looks like this: writing variations of something, categorizing or organizing information, identifying themes across a lot of content, generating options or alternatives, drafting communications. All of that is AI working exactly as designed. Precision work is the other category: mathematical calculations, legal compliance, financial accuracy, any multi step logical reasoning where one wrong step breaks everything downstream, anything where close enough is not good enough. The important thing to understand is that this isn't a matter of prompting better or choosing a smarter model. This goes back to the fundamental mechanism. Pattern completion cannot guarantee precision. No amount of prompt engineering changes that. When you're evaluating a task, this is your first filter. Let's make this concrete. Writing customer support responses. This is AI's sweet spot, and it's worth understanding why. The task is pattern-based. Responses follow recognizable structures and tones. The volume is high. You're handling the same categories of questions over and over. The quality bar is helpful and timely, not perfect. And there's human review already built in. A support agent reads and refines before anything goes out. That last piece matters more than most people realize. When human review is already part of the workflow, you're not relying on AI to be right every time. You're using it to get to a 70% draft in 30 seconds instead of starting from scratch for 15 minutes. That's where the value actually comes from. Now, on the other side, calculating tax deductions. Every single red flag is present here. It requires exact accuracy. There's no approximately right in tax math. It involves multi-step conditional reasoning, where step 5 depends on step 3 being precisely correct. The consequences of an error aren't just a minor fix. You're talking penalties, audits, legal liability. And AI hallucinates with complete confidence, so you'd never know a number was wrong from the way it presents the answer. This is a fundamental mismatch. When you see a task that needs precision, has dependencies, and carries real consequences if it's wrong, skip it. Or at most, use AI only for peripheral supporting work, never the core calculation. Once you've confirmed the task is pattern work, the second question is volume. And this one's about economics. There's real setup cost involved in building an AI approach for any task. Learning the method, building the prompt, figuring out how to verify outputs, handling exceptions. That investment is real. The question is how many times it pays off. If you're doing a task twice a month, that setup cost is hard to justify. You'd spend more time building the approach than you'd ever save using it. But if you're doing 50 times a month, that setup cost pays on day one and keeps compounding. The rough guideline I use: 50 times per month is where AI setup starts making sense. Below that, question whether it's worth it. Above that, the case gets stronger with every repetition. The third dimension is about where your task lives on the quality versus speed spectrum, and this one determines how you structure your AI workflow. If the output needs to be perfect, no errors, no ambiguity, AI alone isn't the answer. That's not a knock on the technology, it's just what we know about how it works. If you want anything fast with no oversight, that's actually the most dangerous category. Speed without quality checks create problems that take longer to fix than the time you saved. The sweet spot is in the middle. Drafts that humans review. First pass content where you're generating 80% of the work in seconds and then applying judgment and refinement. That's where AI delivers genuine value, and it's where most legitimate high ROI applications live. Now let's put the first two dimensions together into a practical matrix you can actually use. Plot any task on two axes: pattern work or precision work, and above or below 50 times per month. You get 4 quadrants. And the top left is high volume pattern work. That's your AI goldmine. Start here. Highest return, lowest risk. This is where your first experiment should live. In the top right, high volume precision work, you can use AI for supporting tasks, not the core precision work. Automate the drafting, the organizing, and the summarizing, never the calculation itself. In the bottom left is low volume pattern work. AI could work here, But do the math first. Setup cost may exceed your total savings. Run a small experiment before committing. In the bottom right is low volume precision work. Don't bother. Wrong fit on both dimensions. Your existing approach is almost certainly faster and more reliable. Here's the actual exercise. This is what turns the framework from theory into something actionable. Spend 30 minutes. List the repetitive tasks you do weekly or more frequently, not occasional things, the regular ones. Then classify each. Is it pattern work or precision work? Be honest about the accuracy requirements. Then estimate monthly volume. Rough numbers are fine. Once you've got that, plot everything on the matrix, and then start with one task from your AI goldmine quadrant. Just one. Clear success criteria, measurable outcomes. That's your first experiment. The reason this works is that it forces you to look at your actual work instead of asking abstract questions about what AI can do. All right, there are 5 warning signs, and any one of these should make you pause. Multiple of them together means walk away. One error invalidates everything. When a single mistake breaks the entire output, AI's probabilistic nature makes it unsuitable. Legal or financial consequences. Tasks where errors lead to lawsuits, penalties, or financial loss need human accountability that AI can't provide. You need an expert to verify it. If expert review is required to check the AI's work, you're not saving time. You're adding a verification step to work that was already going to involve an expert. Multi-step reasoning with dependencies. Complex logical chains where step 5 depends on step 3 being exactly right. These exceed what AI reliably does. You can't easily verify the output. If you can't quickly tell whether the answer is correct, you can't catch AI's confident mistakes before they cause problems. This one gets people constantly. 5 positive signals. Multiple of these together mean you found a strong cause candidate. Creating variations on a theme, multiple versions of something while maintaining core structure. Email sequences, product descriptions, social posts. AI is excellent here. Drafts that humans review, a first pass content where editing is already part of the workflow. AI generates and you refine. There's a clean division of labor. Organizing and categorizing information, sorting, tagging, summarizing based on patterns. This is textbook pattern work. Communication templates with personalization, standard messages adapted for different context or recipients. There's a high volume and consistent structure. Brainstorming alternatives, generating options to explore before making decision, not final answers, idea expansion. AI is good at generating volume here, even if the quality varies. Here's what most people skip when they're evaluating AI for a task: the full cost calculation. There's a tendency to look at AI and think about the time saved, but not the time invested. Learning the approach takes time. Setting up the workflow takes time. Verifying outputs takes time. Handling the cases where AI gets it wrong takes time. So before you implement, do the actual math. On the AI side, how long does it take to learn this? Set it up, run it, and verify it. On the current side, how long does it take the task now? And what's the labor cost? If the AI approach costs more than when you add it all up, including the learning curve, it doesn't make sense yet. Economics matter. This isn't pessimism about AI. It's how you avoid implementing something that actually slows you down. When you've identified a promising task, resist the urge to roll it out to everywhere at once. 4 stages. Pick one task from your AI goldmine. 1. Clear success criteria with something you can actually measure. Run it for 2 weeks. Track what actually happens. Was there time saved? The quality of outputs? The problems that came up? Get real data, not impressions. If the data validates it, expand it to similar tasks. You've proven the approach works. Now you replicate it. If it doesn't work, and sometimes it won't, understand why before moving on. Was the task the wrong fit? Was the approach off? The failures teach you more than successes if you analyze them properly. Proof before scale. This is how you build confidence without taking on unnecessary risk. When you're running those experiments, measure the right things. Concrete outcomes, not impressions. The time saved per task, actual minutes from start to an approved usable output. Include verification time in that number. Your quality of outputs, what percentage required significant rework? That's a direct efficiency measure. The volume completed in the same time frame. Are you actually moving faster? And the total hours saved per month. The cumulative impact is what makes the ROI case. Ignore how impressive the AI seems. Ignore what competitors are doing. Ignore theoretical capabilities and media coverage. Real outcomes are the only metric that matter in your context. Before you implement AI on any task, run through 4 questions. Is this pattern work or precision work? Pattern work involves recognizable structure and creative variation. Precision work demands exact accuracy. That distinction alone eliminates most bad applications. Do I do this 50 or more times per month? High volume justifies the investment. Low volume usually doesn't. Is good enough reviewed acceptable? If you need perfection on the first pass, AI isn't there yet. If human review is already part of your process, AI slots in naturally. Can I easily verify the output? If you can't quickly check whether the answer is right, you can't catch the mistakes efficiently. That turns a time saver into a reliability. 4 yes answers. Try it. Any no answers? Reconsider or figure out how to adapt before proceeding. That's the evaluation framework. You've spent 32 videos understanding how AI works. Now you have a structured way to apply that understanding to your actual tasks. The last video in the series is coming up next. How to experiment with AI systematically. Today we built the framework for knowing what to try. Next one covers how to actually run those experiments and measure what's working. Subscribe so you catch when it drops. And if you want help walking through this framework for your specific business, if you want someone to look at your actual workflows and identify where the real opportunities are, that's what we do at Eau Claire AI. Head to eauclaireai.com and let's have a conversation. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.